Welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast hosted by Rhodey and Diz. The boys will share their tall tales of the one that got away, as well as some regular segments they know all you fishing tragics will enjoy.
G'day and welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian Fishing Podcast, episode 163. Dizzy, how are you, mates?
Good, mate. I'm good. I'm very excited for this one. This is something we've dreamt of, having Brad on after his quarter barrel.
Oh, barrels off the Fleurieu Peninsula, KI region. That is epic, Dizzy, isn't it? And we've got the man of the moment in the most timely way possible. This week, it's gone absolutely nuts. Yeah. And we've managed to get Brad Towler from Fleurieu Charters on for this episode.
How good. Cannot wait to have a chat with him later on in today's episode. Of course, we've got our usual segments and everything to get through before we do have a chat with Brad. So let's rip into oranges and lemons, Rhodey. And I'm just going to open by saying that's the orange. Getting barrels off the Fleurieu is it's a very orangey orange.
I don't want to say I told you so, but I did say they were going to get them off Victor or somewhere there at some point.
Yeah, you're right. So I think orange, a very orangey orange, and hopefully, and we'll chat to Brad a bit later about this, but hopefully this run of barrels hopefully makes up for a bit of an ordinary season on the schoolies, like we heard from Tice last episode. So we'll leave it at that. We won't give anything else away before we get on to Brad. What's your orange?
Dizzy, I'm just cracking me frothy right now. We always have a beer when we do the podcast, Diz, and sometimes you don't like my choices of beers.
Oh, you pick some weird ones.
There we go. And you know what I'm a sucker for? I'm a sucker for those, like you buy a box of beers at Dan Murphy's, and there's always like a $12 six-pack, and I love getting them. I love trying something different. And this week we've got the VB mid-strength Diz.
I didn't even know it existed in their traditional grenade-style bottle. White with green label, predominantly white.
Yep.
Not a bad beer.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Not a bad beer.
I can't believe you're saying that a VB's good.
I've never been that against a VB. When you bring out like crusty old Crownies that have been sitting in your fridge for almost 12 months, I sort of turn my nose up a bit at that.
See, the strong rumour was always that Crownies and VBs were the same, or one was the top half of the keg and one was the bottom half of the keg or the barrel.
There you go.
So I don't know how you like VBs but you don't like Crownies. That's blown my mind.
Yeah, I mean, like is quite a strong word for how I feel about these beers. I've got no issue drinking them. I think I prefer Coopers.
I could easily buy a carton of them.
Oh, there you go. Wow. You heard it here first, guys. All right, let's roll into some lemons, Rhodey. I'm going to kick us off with my lemon. And Port played absolutely dismally against Carlton.
Well, that's true, Diz, because up until now they've lost, but they've played okay. Yeah, like they've been competitive, they've been in games, all that, but they really were just pretty non-competitive.
Oh, they were hopeless. I suppose in a season like this, new coach, building a bit of a new game style, probably going to have some bad ones. Wasn't pretty to watch.
You probably hope the back end of the year it starts to click with a new coach and a new structure, but that was as bad as we've been.
Yeah. All right, let's move on from that. What's your lemon?
Dizzy, you know what I can tell you is, you know they say, it's like clockwork. You know what's like clockwork? Couple of cold days and kids getting sick at childcare.
Oh, I know. Seriously, kids. They're grotty little things, aren't they?
Oh, and what about when they are gross and you put them to bed and you wake them up 2 hours later and they have got like a kilo of snot dried all over their pillow and their bloody face.
Everywhere.
It's everywhere.
I remember I think it must have been Ned to the GP, and we'd sort of like, he was, I think we must have been like those overly concerned parents, and he was just trying to sort of politely say that we were the overly concerned parents. And he basically said, look, the reality is you're basically going to be sick for the whole year because there's enough of you in the house. They're going to childcare. They're going to school. You're going to pick up a bug here and there. So basically just get used to being sick. I was like, oh, that's pretty bleak.
They're crook operators, these kids. But anyway.
All right, let's move on from that, Rody, and let's get into the rest of the episode. So what's been doing the rounds on the socials?
Dizzy, my little post, we went out. We need to talk about this in the fishing report. It wasn't a good report, but we did go over to Yorks and try and catch some whiting. And on the way, we stopped in at a servo in Port Wakefield. 3 bags of cockles. I put up a little guessing game on Instagram.
Yeah. And which, look, to be clear, had the trip been actually planned, A, and B, had we not needed to leave Adelaide at 4 a.m, we would have gone to our local haunt and gone to our usual tackle stores and supported sports fishing scene on the way out or something like that. But we just didn't have any options, and it was unbelievably expensive.
Yeah, and people saying, you can get them at Goolwa Beach. Well, we did know that, but I wasn't going to leave Adelaide at 9 p.m, head down to Goolwa for a little late-night cockling. I probably should keep better track of what's in the freezer. That's fair. But at the point in time, that was our only option.
It was, but it was basically when the lady behind the register scanned them in, she looked at me and goes, "Oh, these are unbelievably expensive, aren't they?" And we were like, "Oh yeah, they sure are." So tell the listeners,
$63 for 3 small bags of cockles. I'm looking at them now. There's no way there's more than 25 cockles in one of them bags.
Nah,
you're paying pretty close to $1 per cockle. That'd be 75 cents a cockle, I reckon.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
And Dizzy, so that was good on the socials. And this picture Brad sent us about his barrel, that went nuts too. We love it.
It did. That's great. We can't wait to have a chat with him later on. So before we do that though, Rhodey, let's get stuck into the news.
Rhodey and Diz have been searching far and wide to bring you the latest news across all fishing in the state, and we'll give you the rundown on what you need to know.
All right, Dizzy, the temporary fishing closures for the new artificial reefs at Wirrina and Nepean Bay are in action, Diz. Those closures are kicking off right now. The reefs are going in, Diz. Did you see that on the news? That was on the news tonight.
Yes.
They were getting deployed this week.
Mm-hmm.
Asher got plenty of airtime.
Yeah, so he should.
I don't know how, but Brad from Fleurieu Charters, he popped in too, had a bit of a look.
Hey, did he help?
I don't know if he helped. I think he just...
Brad's the type of guy that would help.
I think Brad just caught a barrel and said, look, I'm going to go see if this TV camera wants to hear about it. And why wouldn't you tell the TV camera that?
He's got absolutely every right to do that.
So all the bigwigs in South Australian fishing are getting involved. They're big structures. They're craning them into the water. But it does mean there's going to be a closure for a while, Dizzy. So all fishing is prohibited around each reef site. The reef site is 70 by 70 metres. So that's how big the space is going to be taken up by the reef. There's an initial 12-month period commencing the 25th of May. So no fishing within those zones. And there's a map sort of some coordinates on this Purser email, and it's on the website as well. It looks like it's about a 5 by 5 kilometre square, I'd like to say, Diz, based on this map, around the 2 reefs that you're not allowed to fish in for 12 months. Obviously, these are reefs to be fished on down the track. So after this initial 12-month period, they'll be opened. But I did read that they're only going to be open for recreational and charter fishing, not for any professional fishing. So that's good to hear as well.
Yeah. And I think, look, obviously you need to leave these things in the water and you need to leave them alone for a fair while. They've got to have a fair bit of stuff grow off them. Fish have got to call it home. They've got to, breed there and certain times of the year, blah, blah, blah. So it makes sense that they'll be closed, and that's just going to set the fishery up in the future. And this was part of the state government's initiative to, in response to the algal bloom, wasn't it? It was like a recovery program, and I'm sure they took advice from the likes of Asher and Wreckfish to say, look, you need to be starting to build some artificial reefs. That helps filter the water. That helps with where the fish are going to live, where they're going to breed, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to leave them alone, and then hopefully they are some fishing hotspots and really good for the fishing stocks across the whole state moving into the future. I'm sure they will be.
Yeah, Diz, and I might even be able to share these maps on our social, but basically one of them, it's called the Wirrina Artificial Reef, but to me it's probably straight out off Second Valley. It is a fair way out, but you'll be able to find that on the website. And the other one is basically Nepean Bay, straight off the Red Banks.
Yep.
Is the nearest landmark in the bay, not far from Kingscote.
Yeah, good stuff. Well done. All right, Roddy, we'll watch that one closely as anything develops, but it's good that it's gone in the water, isn't it?
Certainly is, Diz. Now, let's keep moving. The Australian Salmon Comp is just about to kick off the 1st of June to the 31st of August. You're allowed to fish from Sharinga to Mount Camel, and it's based around Elliston. That's sort of the home of the Australian Salmon Fishing Competition. Entry is $15 for adults, $10 for juniors. The major prize is for the overall heaviest fish. There's also second and third. They have monthly heaviest fish. There's weekly mystery weights. There's a junior prize. There is heaps of winners and heaps of prizes, Tiz.
I love covering this comp. It's always good fun seeing, the latest one that's been weighed in, and I like that it goes for a few months.
Yep. Good shout. I like that it's in the off-season for most people's fishing. Generally, most of these comps are sort of summertime. It's good to have one in the middle of winter.
Yeah, it is. And, it's a great way. I'm sure a lot of people go to that part of the world, and, the weather's always a bit nicer over there on the west coast. This time of year, they get some warmer weather, et cetera, et cetera. So, certainly looking forward to keeping everyone out there across the results coming through. But if you are planning or thinking about where you might want to go for the winter, then if you're at a loose end, then I'd certainly encourage you to get to the far west coast to be able to do some of this fishing and participate in the salmon comp. It's a great way to get involved.
I think we should get a guest on, Diz.
Yeah, I do.
We've talked about it for years.
Get the winner on.
Yeah. Oh, the winner. Oh, here we go. They'll have to wait till August, though.
A couple of notable catches in between. We could get them on. All right, Roddy, what else is happening in Ozfish?
Dizzy, you've heard of seagrass for snapper, I assume?
Oh, of course I have.
Have you heard of seagrass for blue swimmers?
No.
That's the next project they've got running, Diz.
How good.
So this one is running at the moment, and it's centred around West Lakes, Diz. And it's talking about particular seagrasses that are really important for providing valuable habitat for some great species such as black brim, mullet, flathead, and the blue swimmer crab. So the seagrasses include Zostera and Posidonia species, and they're looking to sort of run off this seagrass for snapper concept, and they're doing a bit of a trial to rehabitate some fishing sort of zones within West Lakes and the greater, understand sort of around doing that in the greater Adelaide region. So they're similar to the snapper project. They're collecting, processing and replanting seagrass fragments in West Lakes using the well-established planting methods such as those Hessian bags they use, Dizzy. Have you seen them do that?
Yes. Yeah.
So what they want people to do is to collect the seagrass, or to you can either collect them yourself, or you can report them on the iNaturalist app to say where you've found them washed up. And they're encouraging them to then be collected, dropped off to West Lakes. And what they do is they get these Hessian bags full of, I suppose they're full of sand or full of dirt or something, and they plant these seagrasses in the Hessian bag, and then take them down, plant them on the bottom of the ocean, and hopefully grow a big old seagrass bed.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, get involved if you can. We love those volunteer and community initiatives to support the fishery. Ready?
So there is plenty going on with that, Dizzy. There's a few information events coming that you can get on the Ozfish website, and there is a spot to drop off your seagrass fragments at Oarsman Reserve Rowing SA Pontoon. You need to keep them in salt water till you drop them off, Diz.
Yep, good stuff. Nice one, Rody. Thanks for the update on that one. Let's move on now to... This was a post from Tackle World, our friends at Tackle World Port Lincoln. They have, they took a screenshot, I think, or they certainly talked about some of the recent reporting of Carenia levels that had been reported across multiple different sites on the Eyre Peninsula. Now, I'm certainly not a Carenia expert, but when you look at the cells per litre, they do seem relatively high, and I think that is creating some cause for concern, because some of the results that were prior to this of recent times were significantly lower.
Yeah, I think Port Lincoln's been one of the parts of the state that has been relatively untouched by this whole algal bloom disaster, I suppose you would say. And fingers crossed that continues. I think if it does get into that sort of Port Lincoln, Coffin Bay area in a big way, it'll be an absolute disaster. If you think about all the tuna, kingfish, the oysters at Coffin Bay, all those species, the pilchards, there's so many species over there that are so important for the economy and people's livelihood, and even just the recreational fishing sector's massive over there. So if it does get bad over there, it'll be an absolute disaster, Dizzy. So they've got on this post here 739,000 cells per litre at Louth Bay Jetty, which is pretty high, and high sort of counts across Boston Bay, the Port Lincoln Town Jetty, etc. And I'm also just reading here, Dizzy, there is a community forum planned for Monday the 1st of June at the Croatian Sporting Club in Port Lincoln. So next Monday night at 6 p.m. So that tells you that they're trying to keep the community informed, but it also probably tells you they're a bit worried that it's going to get worse.
Yes. Yeah, true. Well, we'll keep close on that one, Murray, won't we?
We certainly will, Diz. It's one of those sad things that we have to unfortunately keep an eye on all the time at the moment, isn't it?
It is. All right, Rody, we don't like reporting on these next ones, but of course we always do when we hear of people doing the wrong thing to shine a light on bad behaviour and encourage everybody out there to make sure they're doing the right thing on the water and abiding by the rules, etc., etc. So tell us about this illegal blue swimmer crab catch.
Talking about things that we don't like reporting on, Dizzy, this group of people had 240 blue swimmer crabs, including 221 that were undersize, and that was just after the limit was dropped from 20 to 10, Diz. No, sorry, just after the limit went up from 10 to 20. Well, just after it went back to normal.
Unbelievable.
But they really took that and ran with it, Dizzy. So they've gotten on-the-spot fines totaling $6,550. Again, for mine, probably not enough. There were 5 individuals. If you split $6,500 5 ways, that's not enough of a fine for mine.
No, I agree. Especially that sort of numbers, man. That's huge.
So 2 females...
Talk about seagrass for blue swimmers. These people are just completely undermining any sort of progress.
So 2 females had returned to their car with shopping bags full of blue swimmer crabs, 53 in total, 44 were undersized. The 2 females were each issued fines of $1,085. 3 males had used their clothing as catch bags to carry the crabs they caught, with 1 male allegedly attempting to hide his catch in seaweed. The 3 blokes had 187, of which 177 were undersized. They were each fined $1,460. And it ranks among the most serious blue swimmer crab offences of the year, Diz. And I would hope that's the worst of them. But, geez, it's bloody disappointing. For mine, that's not a big enough fine. And the other interesting thing, Dizzy, you see 240 blue swimmer crabs and 221 were undersized. That's an extraordinary amount that were... You couldn't find that many small ones if you tried, I don't reckon.
No. Yeah,
so 11 out of every 12 crabs they caught were undersized. I reckon like when you go crabbing, it's normally what? 50-50? Size versus undersize?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an extraordinary amount of small ones.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's unbelievable. It's shocking. Really bad.
It is. It's very disappointing, Diz.
It is. All right, well, that's a sad note to end on, Rody, but that just wraps up the news segment for today. So next we have, of course, Tackle Item of the Week. Let's get in.
Now it's time for Rody and Diz to really show you what it means to have all the gear with a lot of idea as they review a tackle item of the week.
Righto, mate. This tackle item of the week, we're talking throw flashes.
Talk me through them, Diz. I know what a throw flasher is.
I didn't know what a throw flasher was.
But you're not a spear fisherman.
No, I'm not.
So how are you going to use it?
Well, look, I was trying to come up with something unique.
Can you tell us what a throw flasher is? Because some people may not know what they are.
Well, a throw flasher is basically a device that, as you say, typically spear fishermen use. And it's when they might sort of think they're on a particular spot and they want to put this throw flasher thing down there to mimic bait balls and mimic bait fish to attract those predatory species up so that then they can take their shot and catch the fish. And so the idea is it's like a PVC pipe or something similar to that has highly reflective material off it. Some different places make their own and they have like custom sort of, shapes on them so that they catch more light and reflect light.
They're a bit like almost
ways.
holographic, aren't they? Like they just catch the light and send it off in different directions.
Yeah. And so I guess the reason why I wanted to put in there is, A, if you're a spearfisherman listening to the show and you haven't tried using a throw flasher, then I'm certainly not going to be the one to tell you here how to use a throw flasher spearfishing because I haven't. But it got me thinking. You sound fish sometimes that are too deep. You might be trawling lures or something like that, and sometimes they're hard to get to the surface. Some people might say, well, you put a spreader bar out or you get your underwater lights going or something like that. Well, what if you put a throw flasher over the side, left it there for a little while, got the school of fish up and then got stuck into them with the lures or the topwater gear or something like that?
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Few questions I've got for you, Dizzy. Is this vastly...
Too many questions.
So, like the vexed system of lures where you put the sinker axe sort of as a throw flasher with bright colours and things like that? Is that vastly different?
No, it's not vastly different. Of course it's not. But it's different.
It's slightly different.
It's different. It's different and it's, it's a technique that people could think about employing.
And is a daisy chain or, as you say, a spreader bar that different in a trolling sense?
Oh, we've had daisy chains on the tackle item of the week before.
And also, all right, last question. Are you just going to have like a crate of these throw flashes, just throw them in, let them sink to the bottom and never see them again and just
because you
go again, go again, go again?
You can put them on, a lot of the spearfishing community put them on floats.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you go back and retrieve them once you caught your fish, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay, glad to see you thought about this. Could you put them on a hand line?
Oh, I'm sure you could do whatever you want.
Just if we're going to use your example. And what fish are we going to target with these?
Anything that's too low for a lure.
Yeah, I've seen them work well on kingfish.
Yeah.
In a few YouTube videos.
Yeah.
When you're out there spearing and they're just out of reach. And the throw flasher just brings them into the zone, the hit zone. Yeah. That's what our Spearos call it is, the hit zone.
Yeah, you sound like a Spearo in the hit zone. So, look, that's where I'm going to leave the tackle item of the week this week.
All right, I'm going to
get a lot of people thinking out there about how rogue that is to suggest that throw flashes might be something that you could use in the fishing community. But, hey, we're all ears. All
right, Diz, a big thing in society these days is like self-evaluation. I'd like you to give yourself a score for that tackle item. Give us a score out of 10.
It's not... I'd say it's probably overall a 6.
Okay, generous.
It's overall a 6. It's in the top half just.
All right, Dizzy. Well, if that's a 6, this next guest is going to be a 47 out of 10.
Let's get Brad on the line. Now it's time to get our guest on the line. We'll ask them the all-important 5 questions, then chat all things fishing in SA.
All right, Dizzy, we are joined by the man of the moment, Brad Towler from Fleurieu Charters. They're calling him the Barrel King. Brad, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, legends. Thanks for that.
Brad, it's so good to have you on, mate, and this is unbelievably timely. We've sort of, floated around in the big blue ocean a fair bit in our boat, and we've sort of said it's only a matter of time before somebody cracks the nut on these barrel tuna off the Fleurieu, and you've bloody done it, mate. Congratulations. You must be absolutely thrilled.
Oh, mate, it's been a long journey, that's for sure, and been following these water temps for some time, and as you know, we sort of went down to Portland last year and had a pretty hard run, and it's one of those things, man. It's just too good to be true, but it's true.
It is true. Now tell us the story. So you went out and you got them the last couple of days. Give us a bit of a rundown.
Yeah, so we've been chasing a few school fish, and I was out Saturday last week and sounded a cry, or actually seen some birds, or a lot of birds, and thought, so we put the school fish gear in and sounded over the tent break, and I was like, man, they're not school fish, they're barrels. And next thing you know, we had a couple of school fish rods go off and instantly got spooled. So I looked at my decky and said, we're coming back with a big gear. And went back the next day and turned it on.
Oh, that's so good. That must have been so exciting for you. You after a tough season on the school fish for the barrels to turn it on.
Yeah. Oh, look, and to be honest with you, there's barrels everywhere at the moment. As far as you can see, you just got to go searching for them. But yeah, the school fish season's been pretty hard for us all. But yeah, to have barrels at our back door, and it's just it's awesome.
And as we said before, like we've always sort of theorised that they're at Port Lincoln, they're at the bottom of sort of Marion Bay and they end up in the southeast. So theoretically they had to swim sort of south of KI somewhere to get from A to B. We've always said they'll probably turn up one day. Have you felt the same, that it's only a matter of time?
Yeah, so, just following the currents and whatever happens. Look, most of the fish just jump in the highway and head out sort of off the shelf, and then they'd sort of detour into Marion Bay and all that sort of thing. But, look, with all the algal bloom and all the water and everything that's gone on and the quality and stuff, it's like, well, hey, they've found a nice body of water in behind, where we're going. And, next thing you know, there's fish everywhere and they're sort of stuck in there with a shitload of bait. So, yeah, it's been a good thing that they've turned right and stopped at our back door.
And that's bloody perfect timing, mate, because like you said, it's been a very tough time for the, fishing industry in general, and certainly, yourselves and charter operators have done it tough for a while with the whole range of restrictions in place and not been a great season. But I bet since you put that photo up, mate, your phone has absolutely blown up. Are we right in saying that?
Oh, absolutely. I think I've had about 135 calls every day minimum. Yeah, no, that's without word of lie. Yep. The messages and the phone calls that just keep coming in, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's awesome. And is that so? You're just fishing hard now, mate? Because I imagine is this typically a relatively slow time of year for you, sort of in between seasons? Is this this obviously good to be busy and be able to catch fish, but is it usually a pretty slow time for you, or not too bad?
Yeah, look, the winter tends to slow down. A lot of the charter boys sort of pull the boats out the water and park it up for winter, but the Fleurieu charter's been operating for 30 years, so we try to, continue on through the winter and chase whiting and sort of the inshore sort of stuff. But yeah, it was definitely starting to slow down, and now it's just clicked it into second gear and said, hey, hang on, let's get going. So that's where we're at with it.
Very good. And you got him the first day, and have you been out again since?
Yeah. So my other decky that works with me, he's also a commercial fisherman, Cape Calamari, Nathan Eats. While I haven't been out there each day, he's been taking the reins, and he's been doing really well too. So, yeah, like today, he went 2 for 2, and I was out the day before, and the day before that, he was out, and he went 1 for 2. And, yeah, so there's definitely been some good fish throughout the week. We're going out tomorrow and Friday and Saturday, so fingers crossed we can back it up. I mean, this moon's going to happen on Sunday, so the bite will get a little bit later in the day, I suppose. We'll either get them first thing in the morning or last thing in the afternoon. So, yeah, we'll see how we get on.
And the $1 million question is going to be, how long do they hang around for, I suppose?
Who knows? As long as the bait sticks around, mate. So there's a fair bit of bait. Like we've got souries and pillies and all sorts of bait happening, and there's bulk amounts of it. Everywhere you go, there's you'll see nothing, and all of a sudden there'll just be tonnage of bait. So the old saying is you got to find the bait to find the fish.
Very good. And tell us, Brad, is this something that like realistically someone can go out and do in a trailer boat like your everyday angler, or it is somewhere that only the sort of charter boats can get to?
Look, anyone can go and have a crack at it, right? You just got to be smart about it. Look at the weather, look at the tides, look at the swell. It all plays a part. So it's all good and well to go out wide, but make sure, people are with another boat. You let, Sea Rescue Carol from over on the island, Channel 21, log in with her, tell her what you're doing, where you're going. So the trailer boats can get to them. They are a long way away. But from some of the reports that I've heard, being so far widely spread, I think the fewer trailer boats are going to get access to them a bit closer than they can think at the moment. So I'm not going to give out too much info, but Yeah, there are a few known spots around at the moment that are holding some barrels. So, like I said, they're scattered everywhere. So, I think tomorrow, with the weather being the way it is, I think you'll see some reports coming in that either people are going to get smoked because they're not prepared, or they're going to be a few fish landed.
And Brad, prior to like this week, have you heard of people getting them in the past and they've sort of been kept under wraps, or do you think this really is the first time people are sort of getting barrels off the Fleurieu?
Look, there has been reports in the recent years that there have been seen for those hardcore guys that go out wide. But most guys that do that sort of keep it pretty quiet, close to their chest. I personally, it's been about 17 years since we've seen a barrel out the back when I was pro fishing out there. So, they were good fish back then. But since then, I haven't personally heard or seen one of one being caught. It's one of those things, mate. Like, you just got to go and have a look. Pick your moon, pick your tides, pick your weather, and just get out there and have a look. Like I said, find the bait, find the action, and 9 times out of 10 you'll find the fish. So hopefully this is a good turnaround for us, and they were happy coming in and feeding in our water, and it's going to be a every year thing. So fingers crossed. And the question you asked is, how long they're going to stick around for? How long's a piece of string, really? Look, they could be here for the next month. They might not even go to Marion Bay. They might turn the corner and go down the southeast and continue the run down there. But as you all know, there's fish at Portland, fish at Port Mac, fish here. They're everywhere at the moment, so which is really good to see for the fishery.
Very good. And Brad, you're targeting them like very much the same as you do when you head down the southeast. Same sort of methods, live bait, trolling, things like that.
Yep, everything the same as what you do down the southeast is what we're doing here. Nothing changes. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, all that shit sounds pretty hard, Roddy. I reckon just call up Brad, blow his phone up and just jump on with him. It'd be a great day. Absolutely. Out, no doubt, mate. And, I was going to really say about how the other sort of fishing had been going before you bumped into them. Have you been doing well on the other species and that sort of thing up until now, with the exception of, like we said, the sort of bad school tuna season?
Yeah, look, we've been doing quite well on the bottom fish, so doing really well on the nannies and the snapper and the sharks. Like, we've just had a bit of a run on the sharks because they're coming in to breed, so they've been in big numbers as well. So, we've been doing really well on that. The whiting, oh man, they're going crazy as well. There's some really good whiting around. This algal bloom had a big effect, but everyone thought all the fish died. Well, the smart fish went to the deep water and they're all coming back. So everything that's come back is big. It's incredible what's happening. So our fishery has done a big backflip, and if that can get out to all the rest of the anglers out there to let them know that, hey, our fishery has had a big turn. It's Mother Nature's way of saying, sorry guys, but here's a reward for you.
Very good. So no signs of the algae for quite a while now, Brad, from all your time on the water?
No. So we are currently doing water testing for Sardi. So we're involved in that as well. We're doing it weekly. We're back to monthly now. So all the counts are really low, if not there at all. And we're really focusing on quite a few areas, like all through the Straits and up in the Gulf. And there's another charter operator that's sort of doing all the like Murray Mouth and all that sort of stuff. And all that's the area where it hit first. There's pretty well next to no counts in there at all, which is good. And the footage that's coming back from the bottom looks really good too. Like, there's a lot of life happening, and all the seagrass and stuff's all rejuvenating, and all the weeds sort of, the kelp and that sort of really coming back. And that real film that was on the bottom, it's really settled and sort of moved on now. So it's really good to see how the ecosystem is bouncing back for sure.
Very good. And Brad, you spoke about Nathan, who you work with, who also works at Cape Calamari, who we've had on the podcast before. I suppose between the two of you, what we want to know is, have you found or seen any squid in any significant numbers, obviously before the ban came into place?
Look, we haven't. Unfortunately, the squid disappeared. That's probably one thing that got hit the hardest, right? So having the restriction that come in place is a fantastic move from the government. If everything's left alone like that for 12 months, you think on what our industry is going to be like in 12 months. There have been a few squid seen and caught, because obviously these guys still go out and do research. And if they're left alone, they're going to come in and breed, and we're going to have bumper season next season.
Fingers crossed, squid are those fast breeding sort of species. So hopefully once they bounce, they come back in good numbers. So fingers crossed, and we'll keep an eye out.
Yeah, 12 months sort of is a cycle, as you probably all know. So, they live for 12 months and die and move on. But, it's really the recruitment is what we're after, the eggs and all the rest of the things. So, and then obviously the water quality and whatnot, and which is coming really good. So, and it's quite surprising. Like, we had a massive run of salmon as well. We had bulk amounts of salmon come through not that long ago. And that was really good to see as well. Like to, have those sort of style of fish come through and, be in big numbers was good.
Very good. Now, Brad, you talked about going down to the southeast last year to try and catch barrels. Have you put that on the back burner for this season, or what's the plan?
Yeah, look, we didn't go this season. And to be quite honest here, just due to financial side of things, it cost us a lot of money to go down there last year. And I get it, it's business. But I think this year what we've done is this was a smart decision to stay home because, look what's happened,
It's paid off. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
No, that's excellent, mate. Now, you've been very generous with your time. I'm sure you've got a huge day on the water tomorrow, and I reckon there's going to be some, well, I certainly hope for you, mate, there's going to be some very happy customers on board your boat after you hopefully get onto those big tuna again. Thank you very much for being so open and sharing all of your info, mate. I hope that phone keeps blowing up and you have a that they hang around for a little while, that bait stays there, and those big tuna just keep getting fatter and angrier.
Yeah, well, look, I'll say one thing. The tuna that we've caught are very angry. When we cut the guts open, they're full of pillies and they just can't get another pilly in their belly. And just the fight is incredible. Like, they're just going stupid at the moment. Like, we've caught barrels in the past and they go hard. I get that. But these fish, they're just like, we had one the other day that dogged in for 2.5 hours. Now, the angler that was on board, he's a very experienced angler, caught multiple barrels in his past, and he just looked at me and said, I don't know what to do, man. Like, this is just giving me the shits. Like, we would leader it up to the surface and it would just take off again, and just kept going and going and going. So, yeah, the fish that we're catching are very angry and very lively, and, good luck to anyone that can put one on the boat because it's hard work.
Very good. Well, fingers crossed they hang around, Brad, and you have a good few weeks or months to come. How can the listeners get involved? Jump on your Facebook page and give you a call. Is that the best bet?
Absolutely, yeah. Jump on our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, go to our website, gocharterfishing.com. Give us a call on the phone as well. That's probably the best way to contact me. If you can't get hold of me, leave a message and I'll get back to you within the next day or so, because everyone sort of understand when we're out fishing, we don't always have reception. So everyone just stand by and I will get back to everyone, and we'll get you out on board and just try and live that dream.
Awesome, mate. Thank you very much again. Good fishing, and really appreciate your time.
Legends, guys. Appreciate it. And we'll have to get you out. We said this in the last 3 podcasts and it hasn't happened. So we need to get you out. We need to make a date and get you out.
All good. Looking forward to it, Brad.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Yeah, mate. Geez, that was exciting talking to Brad about his barrel catches, mate. Insane.
Oh, Dizzy. It's bloody exciting. It reminds me, it's probably on the next level, but it does remind me a bit of when they were getting school tuna off like O'Sullivan's Beach and Metro.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, good call. All right, Rhodey, it was great to have a chat with him. As he said at the end, just reach out to him if you're thinking about going on a charter. Perfect opportunity to try and get onto a fish real close.
Yeah, I definitely think that's your best chance. I also think there could be plenty of recreational boats going out tomorrow. I think the weather's looking really good. Thursday when depending when you're listening to this, but I think there will be plenty of people having a crack.
Yeah, good call. All right, Rhodey, let's get in the fishing report.
Rhodey and Diz have been out on the water to bring you the news about where they're biting. Now it's time for the fishing report.
Righto, Rhodey. Well, we don't need to talk too much more about the barrel tuna because we've had a wonderful report there from Brad. He's just basically filled you in that if you're down at Port Mac or Portland, there's barrels down there. If you're local, of course, off the Fleurieu, you're all sweet there too. So plenty of barrel fish going around. Just need to get out there and get amongst them or get in touch with Brad and some other great charter operators that we've had on the show over the years to try and get yourself onto a fish of a lifetime. Other thing I saw on the socials recently, Rhodey, was a post that I think it was the Point Turton Caravan Park. It wasn't anyone catching garfish because, of course, everybody would know that there's a ban on that species at the moment. But the footage was crystal clear and you could see hundreds of them swimming in this footage.
So garfish, did you say? Yeah. And
which was really good to see.
Was this from a boat or from the jetty or not sure?
I don't know. It was like a close-up of the water, but it was the Point Turton Caravan Park, so you'd imagine that it was somewhere around there. But you know what it's like on those crystal clear days where you can easily see the bottom, and it was just this huge school of garfish swimming around. So really pleasing to see because, like we've reported on the podcast before, we usually see plenty of them if we go out dabbing where we usually go, but we didn't see any.
Very good, Diz. That's one to keep an eye on, isn't it?
Yep, so hopefully that's a good sign of recovery. Whiting, certainly sort of coming into that winter whiting. We didn't have a successful mission last time we went out, but that isn't going to stop us. But in all reports, they're fishing quite well over, like you heard it from Brad. You know, those whiting have gone out deep. They've got themselves fat. They're coming back into their usual grounds now that the algal blooms sort of, passed in some of those waters, and they're big, hungry fish. So, certainly some good reports coming out of the winter whiting. We just haven't been so lucky ourselves.
Yeah, plenty of good reports coming from your dad until we went with him.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Every time I talk to Dave, he said,
Dad and I went out. We did fine. So who's the unlucky charm?
Anyway, we did no good when we went over to Yorks the other weekend. That's the summary of it all, Diz.
Yeah, we did. What's happening over at Fowler's Bay?
Oh, did you see that footage? Have you seen it?
No.
Sunfish. You know those big sunfish that they get on like the East Coast normally? They break hulls of yachts. They're those massive sunfish. And there was in this one bit of drone footage, there was 4 sunfish in Fowler's Bay.
Wow.
It was shot by that, it's called EP Whale Cruises, I think it's called. That's what I wrote down anyway. They do a heap of footage and they do like whale tours and things like that. And a couple of days in a row, they saw these massive sunfish, like as the name suggests, just sunning themselves, like at the top of the water, sticking their big fin out of the water and just splashing around and playing in the sunny water. It was really cool footage.
Amazing. Stunning, like crazy what footage you can get these days. So well done to them and sharing it.
Probably from what I know, less of a recreational species. I'm not sure people target them.
Yeah, you need some pretty hefty gear by the looks.
To be fair, I've never actually seen them on like a sign saying you can't catch these.
Yeah, what do you reckon a sunfish would be like chewing?
What do you reckon the bag limit is?
I don't know. We're getting into some weird territory here in the fishing report, guys. Plenty of salmon around. Plenty of salmon along the usual hot spots. That sort of Fleurieu area, Carricalinga, Port Noarlunga jetty always goes well this time of year as well. So plenty of salmon go around. Southeast, trips with Skip. We had Tyson on last episode. He gave us a great rundown of the Port Mac fishing comp. That was great here. We also saw that as we said, fishing trips with Skip, they went out. They got a whole range of species, some of those lovely big deep water fish, plenty of shark to fill up the freezer with some flake and that sort of thing. So they would have had a great time down there, I'm sure.
They certainly will, Diz, and that's another one of those places similar to Port Lincoln that we've spoken about in the past. You can just go down there and get a real fisherman's basket, like, bottom fish, tuna, crayfish. You can do it all in one day.
Yeah, good call. All right, Rhodey, good episode.
One more thing, Dizzy.
Oh.
I've just jumped on Wikipedia. Sunfish are actually considered a delicacy in some parts of the world, including Japan, Korea, and Taiwan.
Oh, wow.
So maybe I'm not that stupid.
Yeah.
It does say they're banned in the European Union from selling the fish and fishery products derived from the family of Mollidae. Wikipedia doesn't say that you can't catch them in South Australia.
You need to take some hefty gear out there, and I'm not sure that we'd be encouraging our listeners to go out and target sunfish, but look, thanks for that, really useless information.
Adults typically weigh between 247 and 1,000 kilos.
Imagine pulling in a ton sunfish.
Oh, and those things, they'd have a bit of surface area. If they got side onto the boat, you would just be pulling a dead weight.
Well, given that they crack hulls, you'd hate for them to get angry at the side of the boat and potentially flip you out.
Anyway, that's been a good little sunfish chat, Diz. We've gone from the highs of the high with the barrels off the Fleurieu charters to sunfish chat.
Yeah, and we had a throw flasher in the middle there somewhere. So it's been a good episode. If you want to find this episode on all things sunfish, of course, you can see us on everywhere that you get your podcasts across the socials. Been good to chat to you. Don't forget about the voice memos. Really just need some more voice memos.
See you guys.
Rhodey and Diz hope you enjoyed today's episode of All the Gear But No Idea. Keep up to date by liking and sharing us on Facebook and Instagram. And you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms. Until next time, good luck fishing.